So I'm still trying to figure this out, what it is that's so particularly offensive to me or interesting to me, I guess, about the concept of a near constant exchange of information about you, or the constant leaking of information about you, and that leak being sucked up by little medical pipettes of people selling this data, the privacy concerns, stuff like that. I've been conflating it with, the market of software development just in general. The very fact that you can create something that is unique and worth money, that something that is and useful that people would purchase, but also the product that you're making can be copied infinite amount of times. It makes proper capitalism difficult. It's like publishing, because anyone can publish at this point, pretty much anywhere. But you can't publish to certain venues. But you can share the idea, copy and paste it as much as you want. So I haven't quite figured out what it was, and I think I have a better idea of it. I think that it's derived from, and perhaps it's exacerbated in software because it's so easy to steal and or difficult to develop, I guess. It's like an industry push. It is not profitable unless you do these extra things. And why that isn't the case in a lot of other fields. And I think the answer lies in direct funding, or more direct funding, and fewer middlemen. Even in the instance of a book publisher, you have the person who's wishes to purchase the product, and they have their money, they have their wallet open, and then the money goes to the publisher, and the publisher pays the author, and the publisher is the one that's producing all of the, they have the printing press, basically. And that's good in a capitalistic and a specialization perspective. We should be able to specialize and focus on the things that we're really good at. If I had to, make my own clothes, make this hoodie here, I'm not that good. I might not be good. I'm pretty good at sewing, actually. I've done a few technical projects. It's just another problem and a puzzle to be solved. It's interesting. But fashion and design perspective, I severely lack. I lack a lot of appreciation for, I don't prefer the kind of aesthetic that I usually wind up wearing, but I do like designing it. So it doesn't matter. The point is that the thing that you're good at, you should be able to focus on the thing that you're good at. The baker is good at baking. He should be baking. He shouldn't go, okay, hang on, I gotta go dig my fence post right now. And then the fence post guy is like, man, I really wish I could dig those fence posts. I just have to be baking for dinner tonight. We should be allowed to specialize, but I don't know. It's like the extra money bleeds out in other places. It's a loss of value. There's value lost in the exchange. I always found it interesting that in the indirect, I don't know if you call it end customer to end customer. If I want to sell a product and I go to a pawn shop and say, hey, I want you to sell this product for me, they take their share and then they sell it, and then that person pays the pawn shop. and value is lost in the exchange, technically. What is more interesting to me is so you take that model, right? What's more interesting to me is if I package my fence post digging skill and say this fence post digging skill service is available for $10. But, my cost and my my increased experience and my, I don't want to say joy of the work, but maybe I just like doing it, I would do it for like $6. Or maybe my direct cost plus time is $6, and my profit is, what did I say, $10. So my profit is $4, let's say. So technically it only cost me $6. Now if I go to the baker might have a similar thing where he's making bread and it's, really sourdoughy, really whatever kind of bread, really well made. And for that reason he charges $10 for his loaf. But it really only costs him, $3 or $4 in time, so he gets $6 in profit. So if I take the thing that I'm profiting from and we barter, we can trade directly at cost. So it's like I'm getting a $10 service. I'm the fence post digger is trading for bread, trading $10 of bread, but it's really only costing him $6. And likewise the baker is getting $10 worth of service for basically $4, because this is where there's less value lost in the exchange, because there's more that goes into pricing than just direct cost of materials and time. So that's interesting to me. It makes things more efficient. Obviously, in a very practical way, makes things very much less efficient. I can't trade my bread to someone who doesn't really like bread or has a glucose? What is it? That fake disease that everyone says they have, but they don't because it's actually a real disease. The celiac disease. I forget what the name of it is. I had someone on one of my teams that had it real bad. But you know what I mean. So I think and this might bring it back, this might be why Bitcoin has been, like a sprinkling of Bitcoin has come into this thought process. This is all I'm doing this all live, so bear with me. I don't really understand these ideas when I go on them, and they're just kind of explorations. But the idea that you can, I did mention this before, the idea of micropayments, or micropayments is the correct word. I think I said microtransactions in the last time. But the idea that you pay the creator directly, or as directly as possible. That there's no middlemen or fewer middlemen, because that's what the internet's really trying to open up. eBay is, think about someone trying to sell electronics, or someone trying to sell something. They go to an electronics shop, and the electronics shop buys it at a reduced cost. They have their overhead. You have your overhead. You drove to the electronics shop. The overhead is just built into every point on the transaction. So the electronics shop gets it. Maybe no one's that interested, but there's a buyer online who wants it, and they can sell, let's say pre-eBay. There's someone else who's trying to find this information, or they have a shop on the other side of the country, and they order it and they ship it, and there's overhead in that process. Each portion of the transaction carries its own overhead. Gosh, how does this fit into I'm probably not even going to post this. It's annoying to me to even try to figure this out, to puzzle this out. But how does this figure into the concept of people selling the private data? Maybe it's because the selling of the private data is, and this is my posit, or just a possibility, I suppose. It's just not profitable, or not sufficiently profitable, such that it needs, such that people have to, what was I saying, supplement with this additional information. the idea of like a sponsorship or partnership, I guess. I don't even think you'd call it a partnership. The idea that you're helping someone else out with extraneous data. I don't know, it's all targeted towards advertising, and it's all targeted, again, towards making you, turning you into an open wallet, or making you open your wallet, and it's gross. But the purest form of that transaction, because it is still capitalistic, and it is still a free market, because it's all voluntary, or as voluntary can be expected to be represented in the age of the people who design slot machines being hired by Facebook. The idea that I am first exposed to an idea, I am able to research the idea or find out more information about the idea. I find out, or rather a product, I guess, idea or a product that represents that idea or furthers that idea, talking about productivity. Here's some ideas on how to be more productive. And, that would be, I guess you would find that on a top 10 items to increase your productivity. I get on Imgur, which I'm trying to stay off of, but I get on Imgur, and there's all these Red Dead Redemption GIFs, and they're high quality whatever GIFs, and they're all over the front page, and I'm like, oh, that's neat. People are enjoying their Red Dead Wait a minute. How is this not part of an advertising campaign? Oh no, it's super viral. These random dudes are just picking it up. They're just uploading, That's just completely normal. We didn't have anything to do with this. And how hard is it for Imgur to go to Red Dead and say, hey, we are totally not controlling these things, and everyone thinks it's really cool. So what if we had, talking about Imgur, Imgur, if you're not familiar with the service, people just upload stuff, upload images, and people upvote or downvote, and they comment on it. And then there's a front page where everyone, that's where the most upvoted stuff of the day goes, and it cycles. So nothing stays up there forever. But what is that company? They have advertising, sure. But what does that company deal in? What is their inventory? It's eyeballs. It's eyeballs, and it's these two eyeballs as well. It's something I'm working on. But I go there, and look, it's Red Dead Redemption. The next day I go back, there's like 5 Red Dead Redemption GIFs on the front page. Man, this game looks neat. Gosh, it looks fun. I wonder if I would be able to purchase that lovely, lovely game of my own volition and accord. What prevents Imgur from saying, hey, we've got 250 million eyeballs per month? Or we've got 200,000 eyeballs, unique eyeballs, every day. How would you like 200,000 unique eyeballs from venues that might not necessarily be considered video game oriented to be looking at your product? And that's a very simple algorithm. You get little tiny boosts to these anything flagged of Red Dead or whatever these special tags are. It's easy. And it's subtle. And that's the dangerous part. You don't even know what's happening. Now, if you're forthright, and if you're upfront about it, I don't think I have a problem. If Imgur said, hey, we don't do auto promotion on posts, that's just not a thing that we do, and here's how either we can prove it, or, we're transparent, or just trust us, whichever. They're not making that statement. But if they were, then okay. If I have Windows 10 and I'm marketing Windows 10, and I say, yep, only costs $100, just pretty solid deal for an operating system that does as much as it does, But BT dubs, we're going to sell your information. That goes towards paying for some of this stuff. And don't give me the BS, what is it? Ubuntu does a lot of that stuff. Don't give me the BS of, well, it's only tied to your advertiser ID. Ooh. Well, your advertiser ID is like half of a sneeze away from your literal name and address. I mean, all of that information is big data correlated. It's there. It's not, we're not going to pretend that it doesn't exist or that that's a fig leaf of any kind. So I guess you would want to have it so that your communication is direct, you're being forthright about your advertising principles, and the translation from one person, the translation of value from one person to the other is as direct as possible. And Bitcoin does that, and literally no one else does. When PayPal is canceling particular sellers, and I'm from the gun community. This kind of stuff has been going on for almost 10 years. So eliminating middlemen, and thereby eliminating and being open about what you're advertising, it's or what you're selling or how you make money, I guess. I think that's it. I don't know. I got to think more about it.